Welcome to the FCICA Product Webinar Series. We are pleased to have Seth Pevernick and David Fabianic with us today to talk about new ARDEX products. Seth, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Lizzie. First, I'd like to thank everybody for attending. We appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to spend a little time with us while we discuss some new products, both patching, leveling, moisture control, and adhesives. Before we get going, though, I would like to play a 3-minute video just to give you a little idea of what ARDEX and who ARDEX is.
Around the globe, construction begins before dawn. So does the drive for quality at ARDEX Americas. The R&D team designs products that establish new industry benchmarks. These scientists can perform 400 lab tests on a formula before it graduates to field testing. At several ARDEX manufacturing sites across North America, carefully sourced raw materials must pass stringent quality control testing to earn admission to the manufacturing process. A highly trained team ensures systems precisely measure every batch of more than 300 finished products. Manufacturing employees are dedicated to safety and committed to uphold ARDEX as the leading global manufacturer of engineered cements, adhesives, and high-performance building products. Before a finished product enters inventory, it'll pass 10 additional tests to ensure quality standards. These same standards of excellence are extended by ARDEX professionals who provide superior customer service that sets ARDEX apart from other manufacturers. ARDEX Shipping and Logistics respond to the demands of a busy and broad network of the leading and largest distributors across North and Latin America. As a product reaches its destination, a single point of contact writes and reviews specifications for architects with attention to a solution. The ARDEX architectural team works with more than 100 ARDEX field experts who have undergone rigorous hands-on product training at ARDEX Academy. These professionals must demonstrate product proficiency through annual technical proficiency exams. They walk the job site with the customer and convey job site recommendations to ARDEX Technical Services. Together, this network of experts tailors thousands of job site recommendations in the retail, healthcare and education, hospitality and entertainment, military and government, and transportation industries. The Technical Service Department leads free training for nearly 10,000 installers annually at ARDEX Academy locations in Canada and in the U.S. Field training is conducted at local venues across North and Latin America. Hands-on experience and guidance from ARDEX technical advisors instills confidence on the job site. Approved installations qualify for the industry best full replacement warranty. Excellence in people, products and service is bred into ARDEX Americas from its base in Witten, Germany. The ARDEX Group covers the globe in more than 50 countries, where 2,000 plus employees are ready to serve you for more than 40 subsidiaries. ARDEX Americas is proud of its heritage as the world's leading supplier of engineered cements, adhesives, and high-performance building products. From the people at ARDEX Americas, we work at ARDEX, but we work for you. Call to see what we can do for you today. 1-888-512-7339 or visit us online at www.ardexamericas.com.
All right. So what we have in store for you today is some new materials. We have ARDEX MRF that we'll spend some time on that. It's a moisture-resistant, rapid-drying Skimcaot material. VR98, which is a single-component acrylic moisture vapor retarder. We have a self-leveling product, dual water ratio, called K13. And we have 3 adhesives that we're going to review for you. 647 PlumPro, 695, and Henry 422 Fortify. So we'll start with MRF. This is a moisture-resistant patch. Your traditional patching and leveling materials that have been on the market, even dating back 40 years, were never designed to be used in damp conditions, excessive moisture conditions. Designed for being used under floor covering and sealers and coatings where you don't have excessive moisture. As we see, moisture becoming more and more of an issue, we see more and more remediation products out there to include high RH adhesives and floor coverings that can handle the high RH. We got to consider the correct patching materials and leveling materials to use with these products. MRF is an unsanded material, Skimcaot and patching material, very smooth, very creamy. It's a rapid drying material that is fully resistant to moisture and liquid water. You can use this under moisture control materials such as ARDEX MC Rapid and ARDEX VR 98. You can use this under moisture-resistant adhesives and moisture-resistant floor coverings. And to paint the picture for how well this product performs in these environments, you can use this product outside where it could be indefinitely damp, which would be comparable to under a moisture control system where it could be indefinitely damp. MRF has very good coverage. It's a 10-pound bag. It's unsanded, 1/8 inch thick. You're roughly about 28 square feet per bag. As a Skimcaot smoothing product, you're 250 to 300 square feet per bag, all depending on how textured or smooth the substrate is to begin with. The fact that it's unsanded, it allows you to only put as much material down as the substrate actually needs. For interior applications, suitable up to a 1/2 inch over large areas and any depth in well-defined areas. Outside, you can certainly skim coat the concrete outside and can be used up to a 1/4 inch in thickness for exterior applications. Seeing more and more floor coverings to include resilient products being installed in an exterior application. So MRF is perfect for touching up the substrates prior to installing the floor coverings. Moving on to MC products. The ARDEX MC products are designed to control moisture in the form of vapor, not liquid water. They're not waterproofing materials. Materials are low viscosity materials, highly cross-linked resins. They can resist pH up to 14, which is the highest on the scale. And if you really think about these type of materials, they have to be able to withstand excessive pH, up to a pH of 14. We're using them over concrete substrates with excessive moisture, and that moisture can take the natural salts to the surface and shown to be very alkaline. So in that kind of situation, they have to be able to handle extreme pH. They're suitable for use under interior standard commercial floor coverings and for moisture levels in concrete that exceed the maximum permitted by the flooring manufacturer. We pigment these products on purpose to make it easy to see where you're going and easy to see where you've been. Clear resins can be difficult to gauge during installation with regard to thickness, as well as the second coat applications. Like I said, we pigment these products on purpose so they're easy to see where you're going, and easy to see where you've been. VR 98 is a new material for us. It's a fast-track, single-component acrylic material used as a vapor retarder. Okay? It's ready to use right out of the bucket. Not mixing A with B. The waterborne material, also making it easy to use. And we're using this to suppress residual moisture in new concrete up to 98 RH. It's got to be clean, solid concrete. Okay, clean, solid, porous, or absorbent concrete. However, we don't require, a minimum profile here. Quite simply, clean concrete. Probably one of the easiest and simplest tools to use when prepping concrete to receive VR 98. It would be, you could use a grinder, a sander to sand the surface, but we don't need to get into shot blasting to where you're requiring a specific profile. From an application standpoint, it is a two-coat system. 4¼ gallon pail will cover roughly about 400 to 425 square feet, both coats. Okay, the first coat dries relatively quickly, in about 30 minutes. You're obviously applying that over clean, porous concrete, so the concrete pulls in the moisture. It dries pretty quick. Second coat, roughly in about 2 hours. Okay, the neat thing about this is, being that it's an acrylic material, it actually acts as the primer for self-leveling. Okay, typically, when installing self-leveling over concrete, you're applying a primer so that the concrete doesn't suck the water out of the mix, air bubbles into the self-leveling. The VR98 acts as a primer, so it speeds up the entire installation process, because we're eliminating a step in the dry time for that primer. We're applying with a roller, pretty simple, rolling at 8 mils per coat, putting 2 coats on. It's an industry standard when applying coatings, 2 coats like that. You're going at a 90 degrees of the first coat, so you're getting true coverage. Again, we pigment this so that it's easy to see where you're going, easy to see where you've been. It's blue in color, making it very easy to apply and see. While VR98 is certainly suitable to receive patching and leveling materials, it's also suitable for the installation of flooring systems. Okay? So with regard to floating or non-adhered flooring systems, those can certainly be used over the VR98. We'll caution when installing these floating systems, the laminate types or similar, that you're just not damaging the system during installation. You can also direct bond over VR98 non-wood systems. Okay, got to meet the following criteria here. Number one, the flooring must be installed in a pressure-sensitive installation. Okay, pressure sensitive is you're combing the glue out onto the floor, allowing it to go dry to the touch, dropping the flooring in. Installing a wet set adhesive over VR98, and you may have a vinyl back product that doesn't allow for any of the moisture in the adhesive to go anywhere. So not recommended for wet set installations. Pressure sensitive installs. Okay, the pressure sensitive adhesive mustn't be solvent borne. Typically all the glues that are out there today are waterborne adhesives very commonly. Okay. Pressure sensitive adhesive must be roller applied or spray applied. With this being an acrylic material, using a notched trowel to comb out glue, you run the risk with those sharp edges of damaging it, and you certainly don't want to damage the system. Okay. Roller applied or spray applied adhesive. The pressure sensitive adhesive must be suitable for use for a non-porous substrate, such as a multi-coat acrylic film. And the pressure-sensitive adhesive must also be approved by the manufacturer for direct application over a moisture remediation material. So even though we're allowing this product to be used in these applications, it's critical to check with your adhesive manufacturers for confirmation. And then lastly, the pressure-sensitive adhesive must not adversely react or compromise the VR98. As always, when using 2 materials together like that haven't been used before, it's good to do a quick test area just to confirm suitability. Under the following circumstances, the flooring cannot be installed directly over the VR98. So we want to detail that. And if it can't be, flooring can't be installed over the VR98 directly, then there would be a need for an underlayment to be installed, such as the patch or leveling material. Okay? So one of the qualifications here is if the adhesive is specified for use over a porous substrate, then you certainly don't want to use an adhesive directly over VR98. Okay? If that's the case, it's very common to have an 1/8" blotter layer. You could do a trowel grade product, like feather finish, or one of the self-leveling products over top of the VR98. If the surface of the concrete that's coated with VR98 is not flat or smooth enough for the installation of the floor covering, then that's another reason why you may have to apply patching material such as feather finish or one of the leveling products, such as the new K13. Okay. The adhesive will be installed with a notch trowel, and that's the only application. Then for that adhesive, maybe they don't allow a roller application, or doesn't have the ability to be spray applied. Our concern with a notch trowel is those sharp edges dampen the acrylic, and we certainly don't want that. So if the adhesive can only be applied with a notch trowel, then patching or leveling over top of the VR98. A wet set adhesive, whether it's single component, a waterborne acrylic, or waterborne SBR latex, or even a two-component. We don't recommend these types of adhesives over the VR98. Okay. Pressure-sensitive install. Apply the adhesive, let it go dry to the touch, drop the flooring in. Pressure-sensitive. And finally, wood flooring. We don't recommend wood flooring directly over the VR98. Wood flooring can create a lot of tension with the changes in moisture and humidity, create a lot of stresses. The adhesives that are typically used for wood flooring are very aggressive adhesives in a lot of cases, like a urethane adhesive. And the VR98 is simply an acrylic, and we don't create undue stress to the VR98. We have several Henry adhesives that are suitable for use directly over VR98. From a VCT installation standpoint, we have Henry 420 and Henry 430. Those are VCT adhesives, obviously installed in a pressure-sensitive application. We have 630, which is pressure-sensitive carpet tile adhesive. We have 650R, which is a pressure-sensitive releasable vinyl adhesive. We have 640 and 622, which are vinyl adhesives. And while they can be used in the wet set or pressure-sensitive application, certainly for use over VR98, they must be used in a pressure-sensitive install. And finally, we have two new adhesives that we will focus on today, Henry 647 and Henry 695. They are high RH adhesives, and both those adhesives could be used directly over VR98 in the pressure-sensitive application. I'm going to move over to self-leveling. We're going to be focusing on K13, newer self-leveling for us, dual water ratio. But before we get into that, I just want to briefly go over the different tools that we have for placement of the self-leveling, as well as some of the other equipment to include the different pumps that we have. The ARDEX toolkit is something that we have used with self-leveling dating back to the late 70s. The toolkit consists of a 30-gallon mixing drum where you can mix 2 to 3 bags of material. We have a mixing paddle that conforms to the barrel that easily gets the material not only mixed, but the inside walls and down the corner crevices of the barrel gets material mixed. We have all the water buckets for the different self-leveling products. So they obviously have holes cut in the sides so that you're putting the correct amount of water for self-leveling. Obviously not enough water and it's like molasses, and too much water, you destroy the chemistry of it. The water ratio is very critical, and the water buckets help make that simple. And then finally, two other tools, spreader, which is a straight edge with adjustable skis to set the required depth, whether it might be an 1/8 inch, a 1/4 inch, or 1/2 inch. That's on a broom handle. And then the smoother, which is kind of like a large drywall knife on a broom handle. Drag that over the surface to pop air bubbles and break surface tension. Self-leveling, obviously, a very liquid material, as you see being poured out of the barrel there. Different other tools for use with self-leveling products. We have the Rover. It's a barrel cart. It has 4 casters on the bottom that move in any direction, and very easily to transport 2 or 3 bags of mixed material in that bucket to where you're dumping it. Makes life very easy. On the top you see the T6 spike roller with some of the high flow materials to include K13. In thin applications such as an 1/8 inch, the spike roller makes it very easy and makes the installation very flat. We have the ARDEPEGs for deep applications where you're trying to create a true level surface, going multiple inches. These have little tabs, sticky tabs on the underneath to adhere to your primed substrate, and you can cut the tops of these tabs at whatever elevation you're trying to achieve, and it makes it easy to pour up to the top of the tabs to hit your elevation. And then finally, the dust-free tool, which is a very critical tool in this day and age with OSHA's airborne crystalline silica rule that they implemented back in September 2 years ago. We have conducted independent airborne monitoring testing with an industrial hygienist. And the use of the ARDEX, the bottom line is the use of the ARDEX dust-free or a gutter hook attachment onto a HEPA filter, pulsating HEPA filter vac system, you're able to mix and install ARDEX leveling and patching products and be under the OSHA action level. So therefore, there's no requirement for respiration when using our materials with the dust-free along with the pulsating HEPA vac. So very helpful. Finally, we have pumped our materials for many years, dating back to the early 80s. We have had small rotor stator style electric pumps, as you see in the left picture. It's a gravity-fed hopper that drops material into the mixing chamber. That a main motor drives a mixing paddle into a rotor and stator, where the water is entered in, mixes the material, and pushes it through a hose. This pump is capable of pumping it at a low setting, about 100 bags an hour, up to a high setting of 200 bags an hour. So it makes output, very good compared to hand mixing. And in recent years, we have introduced medium and high capacity pumps that utilize 200-pound super sacks of powder. As you can see in the top picture, the Cube, our medium capacity pump, has a super sack being emptied into a hopper, where that hopper connected to a mixing chamber will take the water and powder and push it through a hose and go up multiple stories. Same with the Power Flow, which is a trailer-mounted pump that you see in the bottom picture. It has its own crane on the back side. Big hopper that houses material, and then the mixing chamber and rotor stator push material through a hose and up multiple stories of a building if necessary. When you do the equivalent from a large super sack volume pumping and equate that into bags per hour, you're looking at as I said, the small pump at about 100 to 200 bags an hour. The Cube, which has super sacks, it's probably 300 to 350 bags an hour, and the Power Flow in the bottom right picture, the 7 plus bags an hour. So we got multiple options for delivering material in other ways compared to just mixing by hand. Hang in there, we're getting there. K13, self-leveling underlayment. New product for us, the first dual water ratio material. The two different water ratios allow you to have a standard or regular flow product as well as a high flow product, depending on your liking, depending on the application. When installing over non-porous surfaces, when installing self-leveling over moisture mitigation systems, the epoxy systems, in most cases we just need a smoothing coat, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And the reason being it's very common for the waterborne adhesives for the floor coverings to need a blotter layer of a cementitious material, and they typically may need an 1/8 inch blotter layer. So with a high flow material, it's a lot more liquid than a regular flow. You're able to pour thinner, and if your floor is flat already and it just has an epoxy mitigation system on, or maybe you have epoxy terrazzo and we just need a cementitious blotter layer, using K13 at the high water ratio, 6 quarts of water, allows for an 1/8 inch application over something like terrazzo or something like a mitigation system. Using the spike roller, you get extremely flat surface and smooth enough for flooring, but yet you're only installing it at 1/8 inch. In other applications where you might be going deeper, you want a little bit more body to the leveling material because you're going deeper and you don't want it running as much. You can use the regular flow ratio at 5 3/4 quarts per bag. That difference in water changes the viscosity to the point where it's still healing and heals itself to create a flat surface, but it's not as flowing, and you're able to maintain it in thicker applications at different elevations a lot better than something that was more liquid. So the dual water is really an advantage. Product can go from an 1/8 inch minimum pour over the floor up to 1 inch in total thickness, and you can certainly feather it out at transitions such as doorways, etc. Pretty quick from a drying standpoint and a chemistry standpoint. You can install flooring in 16 hours. The regular flow coverage at 1/4 of an inch is 26 square feet per bag. The high flow, which some of you may be thinking, well, if I'm going from 1/4 to 1/8, it should be about 52 square feet if we're doing 26 at 1/4. But with the high flow, a little bit extra water, your coverage increases as well. So you're at about 58 square feet at an 1/8 inch. Even at the high flow ratio, very high compressive strength, a lot of horsepower behind this product, 5,300 PSI compressive strength. Really strong material, really versatile. Variety of different substrates from concrete to ceramic, quarry, porcelain, adhesive residues, standard substrates that you see on commercial installation. At this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Dave Fabianic. He's going to focus on a couple of the new Henry adhesives, the 695, the 647, as well as the 422. So, Dave, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Seth. So what we're going to talk about today are some new Henry adhesives for vinyl back flooring. Just a real brief mention on some background with me. I've been with the ARDEX Henry company for approximately 20 years. Where I spent a lot of my time was on the private label side of our business, and that's kind of where I cut my teeth on the adhesive side of things, learning about performance requirements, the technical side of things through working directly with the flooring manufacturers. More recently, I took on a marketing role with the challenge of coming out with some new innovative products, particularly in the higher growth categories such as LVT, that's just taking off through the roof. So what we're going to talk about today are just a brief overview of 3 of our new products for vinyl back flooring, and we'll get into those and be happy to entertain any questions after. And I'm not sure if Seth covered this part already, but Whenever somebody uses a Henry adhesive in conjunction with an ARDEX substrate preparation material, we offer the ARDEX Henry System 1 warranty, which is a very, very comprehensive, soup to nuts, unprorated warranty that makes a system out of the ARDEX and the Henry product lines. The products that we're going to talk about are the Henry 695, which is a high RH acrylic water-based adhesive for anything with a vinyl backing. Additionally, we're going to talk about 647 PlumPro Fast Track. And last but not least, we're going to end up with Henry 422 Fortify. Again, these are 3 new products that we introduced at the Surfaces show this year, and they're all for vinyl backed materials. All right, just having a little technical difficulty, but now I think you should be seeing the slides for the Henry 695 High RH Vinyl Flooring Adhesive. What we have with this product is a premium, high-strength, professional-grade adhesive for the permanent installation of any type of flooring with a vinyl backing. It meets all of the expected best environmental type properties. For those of you in the audience who may be familiar with our existing product line prior to 2018, if you're familiar with Henry 640, or if you might be familiar with Henry 622, this Henry 695 new product kind of falls into that same type of a category. In other words, you have some flexibility with where you're going to use it. Obviously, it's ideal for the installation of luxury vinyl tile and plank, but you can do anything with a vinyl back. And this adhesive, you have the option, much like 640 and 622, of laying the flooring materials into the adhesive while the adhesive is still wet. Or if you choose to and you prefer to do a pressure-sensitive installation, you can wait until the adhesive becomes dry to the touch, in other words, pressure-sensitive, and lay it into it at that time. Here's just kind of a quick overview with the pictograms. You're applying it with a notched trowel. You're going to want to let it set open just a few minutes, and then you can choose to begin working with it as a wet set adhesive. Or if you want to let it go pressure sensitive, you're going to be waiting 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on temperature and humidity, to where it's reached its pressure sensitive state. And then you have up to 4 hours to lay into it. And the reason I have 4 highlighted in green is because this is sort of the difference maker, if you will, the improvement of the 695 over our 640 and our 622 products. The 640, the 622, they're outstanding adhesives. They install all the same backings as 695, but you have what's pretty standard in the industry with those products of having up to 2 hours to lay your flooring materials in. With the 695, we're given 4 hours. The other big differential maker between the 695 and why it's a step up, if you will, from the 640 and 622 is we're giving you up to 95% relative humidity rating on this product. So Henry 695 represents our first step into that realm of a 95% RH rated adhesive. So we're really happy about that. So if you're familiar with our product line, maybe you're a user of 640 or a user of 622, and you're saying, Dave, why would I consider trying out the 695? What we have highlighted here in yellow are really the 2 big difference makers. You're getting a couple of extra hours of laying in time or working time, whatever language you prefer to use. From the time the adhesive goes dry to the touch, you've got 4 hours instead of 2 to lay into this. And we're rating it at 95% relative humidity, whereas those other products you already may be using and liking, those are limited to 90%. So higher moisture, longer working time would be reasons to consider checking out our Henry 695 product. Moving along, the next one on the docket is the Henry 647 PlumPro Fast Track Roll Applied Adhesive. Primarily, you're going to use this for LVT. And again, it has all the environmental type of certifications that you'd be looking for. Can't emphasize enough the product titling, where we're calling it 647 PlumPro Fast Track. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail here after we go through some of the basics about the product to describe to you, hey, what really makes it fast. And for those that may be curious, the reason it's purple, the product's being applied so thinly using a 3/8 inch nap roller. And, you know, nobody knows better than you folks that quite often you're working under less than ideal conditions on a job site. It's late at night. Maybe the lighting is not ideal. Having a very distinctive color is just simply to allow you to see areas that you may have missed with the roller. Despite how good this product is, you actually have to put some of it down in order for it to do its job. So the purple should help to identify or highlight any areas that you might have missed on the substrate. The pictogram basics on this, the application again is with a standing paint roller. So that's obviously a great feature. It gets the installer off of his or her knees and allows you to apply it very easily. Here we come in with the first thing that really makes it fast track is this product is going to reach a pressure sensitive state. Quite often when we do it, what I've seen on job sites, let's say you're rolling the PlumPro over top of ARDEX feather finish, it's going to be pressure sensitive. In other words, it's going to go dry to the touch in probably somewhere in the area of 10 minutes or so. And so you're not paying folks to sit around and wait 30 or 60 minutes, as is popular with a lot of other pressure-sensitive LVT adhesives. This thing's going dry to the touch in about 10 minutes. Additionally, you're getting up to 8 hours of laying in time. So that's a bit of a game changer there in terms of pressure-sensitive LVT installations. Just a real quick run through of some of the bullet points on it, and then I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about, again, what makes it fast track. Me as a marketer, I think the term fast track in the construction products industry is really an overused and abused term. Everyone wants to call products fast. So I'm going to identify for you 4 things that truly make this a fast product. By the way, when you want to go and place an order with your ARDEX Henry distributor, you don't even need to remember the product name. All you need to do is say, hey, I want that PlumPro, you know, the stuff that's purple. So, you know, for starters, just to kind of recap, it's a very easy standing roller application. It's going to go dry to the touch in mere minutes. Another game changer, you're going to open up that new floor to traffic immediately. If you study your tech data sheets for pressure-sensitive LVT adhesives, a lot of products, really good ones, even some of ours, are saying, hey, wait 12 hours or wait overnight until you put that floor into service. We're telling you when you use the PlumPro Fast Track, you can open up that new floor to traffic immediately. Being that you're applying it with paint roller, it's going down very thin. So that 4-gallon bucket is going to yield up to 1,600 square feet per gallon. So when you're pricing this out and estimating a job, you do want to take care to make sure that you're looking at the extremely high yield rate that you're going to get and take that price tag and divide it by 1,600 square feet. This may be obvious, but I'm going to say it anyways. One of the big benefits of a roller applied adhesive is you absolutely positively eliminate the possibility of having the trowel ridge lines telegraph up through the flooring goods because there's no trowel involved. So that's a thing of the past. We mentioned you have up to 8 hours to lay into it. And saving one of the best features for last, yes, another 95% relative humidity product from the Henry company. Just to kind of recap here, you might be saying, okay, Dave, I get it, it's fast, but can you elaborate a little bit on that? Well, I think the biggest one, you know, that I talk to installers time and time again about is, hey, you may have your favorite pressure-sensitive adhesive for LVT. You use it day in and day out. But you also know that you're probably waiting 30, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, until it's ready to receive the flooring goods. No more paying the folks to sit around and watch glue dry. You're rolling this out, and it's becoming dry to the touch almost as fast as you're rolling it. So dry to the touch in mere minutes. The folks coming behind the person rolling it are opening the cartons of LVT, laying it in, almost as fast as it's being rolled out. So the dry to the touch, super quick, makes it fast track. Talk a little bit about bond strength. Once you hit the LVT with your 100-pound roller, it's absolutely incredible how quickly a very strong bond has formed. Now, you do still have ample opportunity to reposition the plank however you need to make your installation look perfect. But once you hit it with that 100-pound roller, it's crazy strong, crazy fast. And people are amazed when they'll see demonstrations of it. By the way, if you'd like a demonstration, shoot me an email. You can get a hold of me through FCICA or directly. We'll arrange for a personal product demo for you. Again, kind of obvious, but the fact that you're getting the installer off of his knees can't hurt. I also like to look at the fast track nature of, we know in our industry, one of the things FCICA is working on is training and installing, and how do we get people up to speed quickly, and how do we teach them the trade? Well, it's pretty darn easy to learn how to put it down with a 3/8-inch nap roller. So I like to say that it shortens the learning curve, and that makes it very fast track as well. It's hard to mess up. I mean, if you put down too much, yeah, it's going to take longer than 10 or 15 minutes to be dry to the touch. And if you don't put down enough, it can't do its job. But a lot less complex than trying to work with the intricacies of a notch trowel. I guarantee you that. And then probably another great thing that I've talked to a lot of installers about, and it's proven out here in 2018 as we've been selling more and more of this new product, is this 8 hours of laying in time. And you might say, Dave, product I'm using today has 2 hours, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, yeah, I get that. We have 2-hour products that are great. But we're giving you 8 hours of laying in time or 8 hours of working time here. And talking to installers, maybe people doing multifamily, they say having 8 hours of laying in time is one less thing that the person running the job has to worry about in the morning. So they show up at the job site, they have in mind how much work he wants to get accomplished, how much square foot he wants to get accomplished in that 8-hour workday. But when you have a 2-hour adhesive, you got to chop up that work into 4 different segments, and it's just another thing for the person running the job to worry about. With the PlumPro Fast Track, you can set the 1 or 2 people loose with the roller in the morning and say, roll out to, maybe we're going to cover floors 3 and 4 of this building today. Roll out all that adhesive in the morning and then devote the rest of that manpower to laying in for up to 8 hours. So pretty amazing. And the last product we're going to talk about is Henry 422 Fortify. Folks, this is a wet set or a hard set adhesive. And it's no secret that, truly the preferred installation or the preferred type of adhesive for LVT is to do a pressure sensitive for the reasons you're all aware of. But you also know that from time to time you have those jobs where you want to do a wet set or a hard set type installation. I'd like to tell people that this is not your father's wet set or hard set or your grandfather's wet set or hard set. This employs our latest technology. And what we've done is we've taken very specialized fibers, fibers that do not clog up the teeth of the trowel, and we've blended them into the adhesive. And these fibers perform a couple of different functions that really makes this different than any other wet set that you've ever used. Again, demonstrates very nicely if you want to do a side-by-side versus another wet set that you're using. And we all know that there are certain flooring structures out there where if you look at the flooring manufacturer's own documentation, they're requiring a wet set. When you come across those jobs, give us a call, check out the 422 Fortify. What these specialized fibers do is they reduce that, you'll see my bullet points 1 and 2, they reduce the tile and plank from moving laterally or shifting around side to side during the installation. These fibers give it more body, and believe me, 422 has a lot of body to begin with. I don't want to say it's almost as nice as a pressure-sensitive installation. They're 2 different animals, but if you're going to use a wet set for the job, this is certainly something that the person that's doing the work is really going to enjoy using. The other big benefit that these specialized fibers provide is that they minimize the displacement or indentation. You've all seen it. Let's say you're putting in a vinyl back sheet bed, and as the installer's working his way across the floor, the weight of the installer's knee can displace the adhesive. If you pull back that sheet and look at it, and you see a big round void where the installer's knee was. Well, having these fibers blended into the adhesive really minimizes that displacement. The pictogram and the basics with this, you're going to apply it with a notch trowel, a 16th-inch square notch trowel. You're going to let it stay open, and then you're going to have up to a couple of hours to lay into it. Again, if you have those jobs from time to time that are calling for a wet set or hard set type of adhesive, please try this one out side by side by whatever product you're currently using. And you're really going to like the body of this product. It simply doesn't behave like a wet set, sort of a game changer in that realm. Again, pretty long working time for a wet set. It's going to have greatly reduced lateral side-to-side or slippage compared to other wet sets, and excellent dimensional stability. Really high laboratory testing strength with this product. All right, and with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Lizzie for any questions or discussion. Thank you for your time, everybody.
Excellent. Thanks, Dave and Seth. That was a lot of information. I do have a question here. Is Henry 647 PlumPro a releasable type of flooring adhesive?
Good question. And a lot of folks might think, well, for decades I've seen carpet tile installers roll apply an adhesive, and we all know that carpet tile, the preference for the property owner is to have an easily releasable carpet tile. No, the only similarity there is that it's being applied with a roller and very thin, but it's not a, quote, releasable type of adhesive. Extremely high bond strength with this product.
Okay, and another question about the same product. Does it function as a concrete moisture barrier and retarder?
Again, another good question. You'll know that two of the three products I talked about, both the 647 PlumPro as well as the Henry 695, are rated at 95% relative humidity. And this holds true for not only Henry, but all of our competitors out there. When you're talking about a water-based adhesive that has a super high rate of moisture resistance, what we're saying is that the adhesive itself is not going to break down and re-emulsify. In other words, be destroyed in that 95 RH environment. The adhesive can live happily all day long in that environment. You really need to look into whether or not the floor covering is also going to be happy surviving in a 95 RH environment. If it's not, then you should look to ARDEX VR 98 or the ARDEX MC Rapid to get yourself a moisture retarder or a moisture barrier in place. But the adhesive itself is going to live all day long at 95 RH. What it's not going to do is protect the floor covering.
Okay, following up with about the VR98 product, if that's only suitable for up to 98% RH and on or below grade concrete must have an intact vapor retarder, what should I use to remediate excessive moisture in concrete that is on grade or below grade with no vapor retarder, such as a renovation project?
Yeah, that's a good point, a good question. In that situation where you're on grade, below grade renovation, you could have an unlimited source of moisture, then you want to go with ARDEX MC Rapid. It's 100% solids, epoxy, can be installed in an application where if it goes to 100 RH underneath it, the product doesn't mind, doesn't care. So, that's the product to use in renovation where you could get up to 100 RH in the concrete, MC Rapid.
Okay, sounds good. That's all the questions I have. We're just going to move on to this slide. So again, I just want to thank you both, Seth and Dave, on behalf of FCICA for presenting today's webinar. You've got some really interesting products out there. For everyone attending, the recording will be available on FCICA's YouTube channel, Member Center, and again here on the new education platform, and the handouts will be available as well.
Yep, and Dave and I would also like to thank everybody for giving up a little bit of their time today to spend a little time with us and learn a little bit about the ARDEX and Henry products.
Thank you, everybody.
Just a reminder for our SIMs, because the education platform isn't completely ready yet, we will still be adding your CEUs to your account. Those that are watching the recording on the YouTube or the Member Center will need to submit the online CEU form. When the education platform is ready, you'll be able to sign up for webinars, and when you've finished watching them, either live or the recording, those CEUs will automatically be added to your account. So we're really looking forward to that. It'll be a lot more efficient for everyone. If you are looking for other continuing education opportunities, you can access various webinars on the YouTube channel and the Member Center again, and you can also visit our new training resources page on our FCICA website for other offerings. And just to wrap it up, if you are interested in sponsoring an FCICA product or educational webinar, you can contact me by email at elizabeth@fcica.com or by calling FCICA at 248-661-5015. That's all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.